Welcome to our 2006 Celebrate podcast series. I'm Alexa Tralla, and I'm a current executive MBA of 2026. This podcast series is meant to highlight the stories and experiences of the UCLA Anderson class of 2026. And I'm really excited to be here with Joel today, where we're going to be having a conversation with a friend and someone that I very much admire. So very excited that you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here.
Me too. I will go ahead and give an introduction about you because there are so many incredible things that you've done. So we'll just level set with that and get into it. So Joel is the VP of Content at the Lubetzky Family Foundation, created by the kind founder, Daniel Lubetzky, to build more empathetic, respectful, reflective, and just communities fueled by the spirit of social entrepreneurship. After the beginning of your career as a writer-producer for cable, you pivoted to programming and content strategy for digital entertainment brands, or as you say, making TV for the internet, which I love. You co-founded the comedy gaming brand Funhouse, led online content for LeBron James, Uninterrupted, Spring Hill, now Fullwell, crafted a turnaround comedy super brand Smosh, and show-ran, executive produced YouTube series of both the NFL and American Girl. So your career has been very unique and exciting, and you are just a big, bright light. So I'm really excited to connect with you today.
Will you be my hype person?
Anytime.
Thank you. That's great.
Well, I figure maybe we can start and hear about, what brought you to the MBA.
I'm in the MBA?
Yes, that's the wrong place, wrong time.
I never wanted to, I loved my undergraduate experience, but I never wanted to go back to school. And the reason for that is I'm kind of lazy, and I remember how much work school had been. After I met my wife and we got married, she has an MBA from USC Marshall, but she spent years telling me how much value she thought that I would get out of having an MBA experience like she did. And I kind of ignored it for a while because I was having I was going through my career, and I was going from show to brand, and everything was going fine. And I found myself eventually without a job for an extended period of time. And I was applying, and the feedback I was continually getting was either you are too senior for this role, we want someone who's junior, or we need someone with formal background in finance and accounting, in strategy. Basically, we want an MBA in this role, even though it's a creative role for network jobs. And I got tired of banging my head against the wall, and I just said, okay, fine, I will apply to some MBA programs and see what happens. I wasn't really that enthusiastic about it, but I felt like this is the time for me to do it because I don't have a job right now. I have the opportunity and the time. And UCLA was the first program that I looked into because I was living in LA at the time. And I came and I visited, and I just really appreciated both everything that the admissions team had to say, but talking with the students that were here and meeting some of the other people that were on tours with us. Like Alfie was on one of the very first weekends that I was here. And what became apparent to me was this could be great. If the rest of the experience is as positive as a sort of intro experience is, I see even beyond the academics what I can get out of this. And then on top of that, looking at the course of study, there were a lot of holes in my background as sort of just a self-taught person. I had no negotiation skills. I had no formal financial or modeling training. I hadn't taken a math course in over 20 years. So the academics, to me, was almost secondary to how much of an opportunity it was to meet people who were just really interesting and go through this process together.
So what was it that actually got you to, pull the trigger? Was it the class visits that you took, or kind of the people that you'd met along the way? Or?
It was a combination of the people were a big factor.
Yeah.
Both, again, the admissions team truly, and the folks I was meeting on the tours. The other side of it really was just the opportunity that I mean, the position I found myself in, which again, like having not had a job for so long and feeling like this could be a real skill up opportunity. It's the only time, if I get a job, even though the program is built for people with jobs, I personally did not feel like I would be able to handle both a job and this like academic experience at the same time. And it felt like, well, this is the time for me to do it if I'm going to do it. Yeah. And so that's what made me pull the trigger on it. Yeah.
So what were the biggest, challenges or things that you weighed starting the program or preparing yourself, after having, time off in school, you're not working, you're thinking about what your next career is, how did you kind of...
Math.
Yeah.
Math was the most scary thing for me, realizing that I was going to have to do math. I'm not a math person. I was a fine arts student, undergrad, and anthropology. I did a double major as an undergrad, and I don't care for math, but again, the support was super helpful. The other thing that I was a little bit nervous about was the schedule and like being held accountable to somebody, both sort of academically, but also myself trying to like actually get the most out of the program, making sure that that I was putting in the work to get the outcomes that I wanted. Again, both like the grades, but also the knowledge. If I'm here, I actually want to learn how to do stats again or learn what is an econ.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you've, as you enter the program, you're also, you're considering what's next in your career. How did you kind of think about navigating that and the balance, with those components?
Yeah. So initially I was really hesitant to tell people that I, at that point, hadn't had a full-time job in 8 months. So I kind of had to retcon a reason for coming into the program that wasn't sheer frustration. Yeah. And really you know what the concept of retconning is?
No.
Retroactively creating a reason for having done something. So I looked back and I said, what would a reason for me to go to this program be? Well, the digital media industry at the time, in 2020, late 2023, 24 was in a very difficult place. After about 10 years of heavy investment, a lot of major investors were pulling out. And so a lot of digital media companies were falling apart. A lot of big acquisitions had happened that then the acquiring companies, mostly studios and networks, shut down the brands that they acquired. And the reason for that is long, and I won't get too into it, but basically these companies are looking to reach audience at scale. Right. But digital audiences don't function the same way that a traditional cable or TV audience functions. And so they didn't know what they were buying with these purchases. And my retconned reason was I want to find a business model that allows the studios to reach digital audiences at scale. And then job. But I think what became apparent to me was in the first couple of quarters was two things. One was no one's just going to teach you that. Like if that was a teachable thing, someone would have figured it out already. So the work that I would have and deep research I would have to put into it was something that I was going to have to self-motivate. Mm-hmm. The other thing that became apparent to me was that through the courses that we were taking, through especially Shaddy's marketing course, I think, was that truly the best way to reach audiences online is through online original content. Mm-hmm. And that's what everybody wants to do, whether you are a studio or an advertiser. The studios are all, they're financed by the people who are buying ads on them. And if there is a marketing opportunity to create content, maybe that's more of a pivot that I'd be interested in, is working in more of a marketing role to drag some of these consumer-facing companies kicking and screaming into the content world, which is where they need to be. And so, I think that's sort of a rambly answer to your question, but that's about midway through the experience where I started to focus my studies was a little bit more on, well, what would it mean to learn more about a traditional marketing environment? What do marketing teams do? I've interacted with them in creating branded content, but only from the creative side, not from the client side. And so I ended up taking a bunch of marketing classes to try and figure that out.
So maybe just to elaborate on that, obviously the entertainment industry is going through a massive change, and you're in the program during this period of time. You're learning this new content in these classes, both entertainment from the financial perspective, the marketing perspective. What other light bulbs did you have throughout the program that kind of, either ignited some type of fire or even, changed maybe your trajectory and how you looked at, this career pivot or just the landscape?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it was attitudinal for me. Some of the other big things that I've taken away from the program are a lot of the more soft skills. So leadership lessons and how I am telling my own narrative, I think has evolved a lot through the course of the program. I think I'm better at it now. And I really attribute a lot of that to, again, John Ullman's courses. He's amazing. And also some of the not all the speakers, some of the speakers had a real impact on me. And then my executive coach, we are lucky enough to have, if we choose to go through the program and have monthly meetings with an executive coach. And all those have been incredibly transformative for me in going through the program, as much as the specific academic stuff has been as well.
Maybe can you share a speaker or two that stood out in their story?
Sure, yeah. So about a year ago, so my story is I moved to LA in 2003, and I had been here ever since. And a year ago, I moved from. Oh, I grew up in Louisiana. Yeah. I went to school in Philly, and I moved out here right after I went to university. And so I've been here for 20 odd years. And the week before, I think our first class last winter quarter, not the week before, the day of our first class, that Friday, I was on the phone with my wife before we walked into a course, or whatever course we had, and we got some news that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we were going to move to Dallas. And I've never wanted to live in Dallas. My wife and I had planned at some point to possibly move to Texas after the program was over, and I'd be able to create a transition plan for myself and everything. But I love LA. All my friends are here. My industry is here. My network is here. I've been here for 20 odd years. My roots are here at this point, and it was disorienting. I was incredibly stressed out, very depressed, and angry about it. And I had to go into class. Luckily, that day, we had a speaker address, a speaker series, one of the people in the speaker series come, and that was Coach Val, who had been a gymnastics coach here at UCLA. And I walked into the auditorium in the worst mood, upset that I was having to sit through this thing when I felt like I had too much going through my. Yes, I was angry. I really didn't want to be there. This sounds so fake, but this is exactly what happened. I'm listening to myself tell this story right now because it sounds so not real. But I was angry that I had to go to this thing, and I begrudgingly sat down in a foul mood. And she started talking, and it was very and she's very positive and she's very bright. And I slowly was able to start listening to what she was saying. And I got more engaged. I wouldn't say I turned a corner mentally, except for about halfway through. And she said that when you are faced, a lot of times, you are faced with a challenge, something happens to you, and you have to make an active decision about how you're going to react to that challenge. And your decision can be to succumb to it, to be miserable, to be angry, or you can be grateful for the challenge and accept it and say, you know what, this is not something that I had planned. I did not ever want to have to do this, but it's going to test me, and it's an opportunity to force me to do something that I've never done before. Not those exact words, but because this was a year ago and my memory is nothing anymore, but that was the gist of it. You seeing this awful thing and acknowledging that it's awful, but also saying, well, what can I learn from it? And it's the kind of thing that I had heard before, and it always seemed like a pillow that someone put on their couch, or like a wood carving that you would put on your wall. and like roll your eyes at. And it hit me that day. And I walked out of there. It was what I needed to hear when I needed to hear it. And although I'm not going to say that it made the move like wonderful and joyous and like I was a Disney prince and there were birds singing and landing on me and doing things for me. It wasn't like that, but it allowed me to recontextualize what I had to do and actually start working on it and think about, well, what can I get out of this? Even if I don't want to do it, even if I don't want to be there, what are the things that will help me grow out of this? And I said transformative before. It really helped me get to the place where I am in life right now, which is in this new city without major depression, trying to grow as a human being.
Right.
Yeah.
Coach Val is so inspiring. I remember that talk as well.
Yeah. I think that was a real highlight for everybody in the program.
Yeah. So, on that, you move, very challenging during the middle of this program. How were you able to manage that? What did you do to manage that? How are you balancing the aspects of that?
Do you want the brand approved message or the real answer, Alexa?
Dealer's choice.
The real answer is you have to prioritize. And my priority was my family. And so there were times when fortunately, God, we in the program, we have these study groups.
Sure.
And I've been very lucky. My study groups have all been, again, like I just sound like an ad, but the study groups have been great. I've loved all my study groups. And I was very transparent with my study group. And I said, like, look, this is a very rough quarter for me. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to participate in these specific areas of the assignments or the classes. And I had to dip out of a lot of stuff because my priority was moving my family, getting us across the country, getting us settled, getting our kids in a school, all the things that you have to do when you have responsibilities. And I would not have been able to get through it without the help of the folks in my group. Absolutely. And again, both emotionally, because they're we do fun check-ins and we talk to each other, but also again, academically, supporting me when I need support, filling me in, giving me the TLDR, involving me in ways that building systems that I could participate in even when I wasn't fully available.
Honestly, that's just the magic of the, cohort, truly, having that support, that safety net and that support system.
It is and it's, you build these systems because, and you are willing to cover for other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's going to happen to you at some point. A lot of this is the kind of stuff that people were telling me during the orientation or during the admissions process. You kind of roll your eyes at it, and then it materializes, and it's so powerful. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I feel like there's not a day or a week that goes by where someone's asking our group chat, do you have a lawyer in this or a specific, contractor in this area, and someone has a contact somewhere.
I'm looking for a halal butcher in the Inland Empire that's open between the hours of 1:30 and 4.
Basically, they will find it.
Yeah.
They will find it.
Yeah.
So, okay, you move, you rely on the team. You have also landed a new job. I would love to hear more about that. And, from the program, how did you navigate, or, maybe what from the program helped you to land the job? And, how did you think about, the process of getting to that point of landing the new job?
So the process of landing the job, I really can't take credit for it. It was all other people did it. And I was just...
You're the puppet.
I was going to say I was the center of gravity around which other people revolve, but sure, I was a puppet.
I like the center of gravity.
So the process was I got an absolutely cold reach out. I got a cold outreach email on LinkedIn from the hiring manager of this role and said, I stumbled across your profile and would you be interested in talking about this job? But the lead up to that really was me over the course of the preceding year and a half or so, going through the program, again, acquiring the skills of how I am talking about myself in public, how I am telling my narrative, what applicable skills I can spotlight across industries or functions, how to better tell what those skills are. This business world is very, the world of LinkedIn and the world of like the MBA world, like it's not really my world. And so learning how to navigate those waters was crucial. And everything from talking to y'all, the cohort, which is like incredibly amazing and smart and accomplished and diverse, and people who are way better business people than I ever could be, and like learning, oh, what do you look for? Like, what kind of conversations are you having? There's that. The executive coach would not have been able to do things without her. And then even some of like even if I wasn't going to every sort of a voluntary work, every workshop, a lot of the things like that come out of the workshop, I would sort of try and incorporate into my day-to-day of week to week or month to month, depending on how busy or lazy I was, of how I present myself on LinkedIn. So it's a lot of updating things and right-sizing them and making sure, I'm not writing this for me. I'm writing this for a recruiter. I'm writing this for an ATS or whatever it is. And putting out thought leadership articles on LinkedIn ended up somehow being helpful. She said that she found my profile and she read some of the stuff I had written there on the state of digital media, and she was interested in talking. Yeah.
Had you done something like that before the program, or was that just something you had like a creative spark for?
I had been, I moved to LA to write for TV. So
back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I still, even though I don't write regularly anymore, I still consider myself at my core, like there is a little bit of that. And there are a lot of unfinished projects creative projects that I've
seen your incredible drawings.
There's that too, yeah.
Yeah.
So prior to the program, I had started posting a little bit more on LinkedIn, but there was no method behind it. It was sort of whenever I wanted to, and not to say that I needed to be structured about it, but just more thoughtful about how I approached it. So yes, I had posted some sporadic writings and essays and thoughts, but with the program, I really focused more on what the outcomes of why I'm doing this and how I'm presenting the information and how to make it applicable to what those goals are.
Yeah. So you mentioned the career coach. What were some of the conversations that you had with the career coach or maybe topics that you discussed that were helpful?
Well, they tell you when you go through the career coach like orientation that your career coach is not a therapist, and they're not. But oh my God, like having a sounding board during a time of like incredible self-doubt was, again, it's so helpful. Because she really helped me reframe mentally where I was at and the struggle I was going through. Also, again, the diversity of the cohort and learning about everybody else's vulnerability and everybody else's struggles helped me too. But with my coach in particular, again, helping me realize you have these skills, you're just not optimizing how you present them. You're not putting thought behind what you're doing. And I like feedback and I like critique. And so it was never a negative thing for me. This is what I wanted to hear. Yeah. Because so many people use their coach to say, like, how can I manage my team better? I didn't have a team. How can I incorporate the lessons of our ops class into my systems at the plant that I work at? Well, I don't have a job. What she helped me do was incorporate a lot of the structural thinking into the outcomes that I wanted to get and how I put that out there.
So you talk about, self-worth and kind of that narrative around there. Were there other things in the program that really helped, improve that?
Yeah, nobody in the program is as funny as I am, so that was a real confidence boost once a month.
Maybe Sam Rosati comes close.
That's true, and it helps. Sam and I are doing capstone together, so it's a real Joker corner.
Oh gosh, yeah. I would love to sit in on those.
No, you wouldn't. No. So what really helped with the self-worth was seeing that, first of all, you don't want to measure yourself against the other people in your class, but you can't help it.
Sure.
And it was really helpful for me to see I can hang with these very smart people. Not just conversationally, because it's always a little bit of, am I going to be cool enough for people? Are they going to want to hang with me? But also academically, can I keep up with people who are coming from healthcare and like real world jobs? There are lawyers and doctors and people who make a real difference. And I make TV for the internet. So like, can I hang with them? So that was a confidence booster. Like, and beyond that, even helping people through some of the academic work and providing, like being somebody who could actually help made me feel, it was really fulfilling in a way. So that helped a lot with like the self-confidence and a ton.
Amazing. Well, as we're coming to commencement, where do you see kind of the return on investment in the program for you?
It's the people. I mean, it's gotta be. The thing I regret the most about the program is that I don't live in LA anymore. And so many of y'all are in LA, and I'm not gonna have an opportunity to go to dinner once every couple of weeks, or go to Chester's comic book store, or to the all ladies gym if they'll let me in, that one of the Capstone teams is. Are you
this week?
Yeah. But it really is, the thing that I'm going to be taking away is the people, and desperately trying to stay in contact with them from afar. And even if I fall short of that, just remembering the patience and the grace and the support that they provided me when I needed it, and trying to be that kind of a team member, or being that kind of a leader, I guess. We're leaders now, right? Are we? No, not until June. We'll be officially leaders in June, right?
Okay. We can still be leaders up too.
But that's probably what I'll take away. And then obviously, like the return is the fact that I have a job, and my family is, happy in Dallas, and I don't think any of that would have been possible had I not gone through the program, really.
Yeah. Well, I also think, it is interesting for, people that are traveling in for the program. It means that there's just more intentionality in, getting together with classmates, coming back into Los Angeles. But at the same token, we all are going to come out and visit you and do the stock show.
Oh, good. I'm excited about that. I will say, making the transition from driving here from Burbank to flying in from Dallas was a difficult one. Listen, if you're flying in and you're not used to it, I cannot recommend enough coming in the day before, especially for the foundations weekends when you have class starting early. You cannot wake up at 4:00 and then have a 10-hour day in the classroom. That's not possible. Get here the night before. Like that's the return on investment. It's one extra night at Luskin, because your body will thank you and your mind will thank you the next day.
Well, and foundational leadership is like a crazy week, right?
Oh, like the leadership, the foundations week isn't like, I just mean
the classes on Fridays.
The once a quarter classes on Fridays.
Well, that being said, what's next for you?
Okay, so do you mean what's next in the next week and a half, or do you mean because I have a ton of work and for the capstone? What's next for me, I think, is I'm VP of content for the Lubetzky Family Foundation. I can't talk about the specific project that we're working on right now because we haven't announced it yet, but it's something I'm really excited about. I hired a VP of content. I can say I started production on some of this stuff, and it's very cool. I'll tell you, Alexa, after we cut the cameras.
Of course.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also very nervous about it. But again, I am truly skilling up in this role, but the confidence I have coming out of this program has been very helpful for me. So that's coming down the pipeline. My 7-year-old is on a soccer team, so he's got a bunch of games. So I'm looking forward to becoming a real insufferable jerk on the sidelines of soccer fields. And I am actually gonna be going to the beach next week with my folks. Rented a beach house, and my sisters and their families, and so we're all gonna get together for the first time in a couple years, and all the cousins are gonna hang out, and that'll be fun.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
and so special that you get to do these things. As the beauty of having more time. You really do have a new appreciation of time that you
Oh,
do.
I don't have time to go to the beach. Like I will be both working and doing capstone
Sure.
work. I mean, under an umbrella on the Gulf of Mexico for
Yeah,
sure.
these programs make you really good at multitasking
God.
and prioritizing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, I wanted to end with a quick rapid fire of questions. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with favorite professor.
Kramer, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, either Kramer or Ullman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most impactful class.
Oh,
Probably in that same.
yeah. Say, I mean, either Kramer. Well, either Kramer, Ullman, or my entertainment business models class. I know I'm hedging. I'm equivocating too much. I have too many answers.
Okay, choose one, and why.
I'm going to say EBM, entertainment
Okay.
business models. It was a full-time class. I got to be in a class with full-time students and FEMBAs and EMBAs, and it was great. And the speakers were incredible. Sanjay, Professor Sood, and his co-professor Harry Sloan. We got Ann Sarnoff. We got Jerry Bruckheimer. We got Al Michaels. We had. Matt Howell's wife, Jenny, came in to talk to us from Netflix. Like it was like the speakers were
Full house.
incredible.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, favorite book or recent podcast?
Oh, that's a good one. My boss's book, Do the Kind Thing by Daniel Lubetsky. No, it's a good book. You should read it. I honestly, I still try to read for pleasure.
Nice.
And I just got into, I think her name is S.A. Chakraborty, has a series, starts with City of Brass. It's about like 1800s and genies. It's very cool.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite hangout with classmates?
I hate China. I mean, China was super fun and scholastically rewarding, but super fun.
Maybe like one highlight about the China trip.
I mean, again, like we did lots of cool stuff. We had a lot of company visits, but the coolest, the best was being on the bus with y'all. And we were on the bus a lot, but like we had a great bus and it was super fun.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah. Lots of inside jokes after that class.
Yeah.
Okay. Most useful tool from the program that you've added to your toolbox?
Incorporating AI into my regular workflow. I really didn't use it at all. I come from entertainment. Is this supposed to be rapid? I'm giving too much context.
No,
AI,
it's
go.
It's good.
Do you want context? All right. So UCLA super AI friendly, and I was resistant to AI as a creative person coming from the entertainment industry. I have seen ways to incorporate it into my workflow that have been really additive and valuable without letting it do the work for me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very great. Okay. Favorite memory during the program in LA?
Wow. Favorite memory of the program in LA. It's not one specific thing, but it's going to Luskin after Friday night classes, and just being at the bar and unwinding and talking about classes, talking about what's frustrating, talking about our lives, learning more about the people, meeting everyone's significant others and their kids and like
their dogs.
The best dogs.
Yeah, really good dogs.
And just being present and making the choice. Like you can always go upstairs and do work and do the readings, but you're like I'm not always going to be able to hang out with y'all, and making the active choice to have a whiskey and sit down and like take the time.
So true. The best conversations. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, we're going to end with one last thing. Okay. I'm going to give you this Bruin Bear for you to give a bear hug to someone or someone's.
All right, this bear hug is going to go to two people. One is my parents, who've supported me through my entire journey, which is true. But like I'm 44 and my parents still rock. So like, thanks, Mom and Dad. And also, obviously, my wife, Dana, who is the most, tolerant, patient. Like I don't deserve the leeway that she's given me for the last 2 years, and I will be forever in debt. So actually, return on investment is negative because now I'm in her debt. Now I think about that. Love you, babe.
Well, thanks so much. It's been such a joy, and I'm so glad that we met through this program.
Thanks. So was this interview everything you wanted it to be?
Everything and more.
What could I have done better?
Nothing.
I don't believe that.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
Yes.
I'll be back in 5 years.